Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer, here live at Levi Stadium, where the 49ers are out practicing, beginning their preparations for their big Week 6 contest against the Cleveland Browns. It's going to be a really interesting game out in Cleveland for the San Francisco 49ers. You know, this is a matchup. You look at where the 49ers are coming into this game, 5-0, scoring over 30 points a game every week so far. A quarterback that's won 10 straight regular season starts. A lot of positive things for the San Francisco 49ers team heading into this game against Cleveland. But here's one thing that every 49ers fan should worry about, the one matchup that they should all be worried about as this game gets closer, and that is 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan versus Cleveland Browns defensive coordinator Jim Schwarz. Now, these two have matched up together 9 times in their career, either as head coaches or defensive or coordinators in their career. Again, 9 times Jim Schwartz against Kyle Shanahan. In those 9 games, Kyle Shanahan's squad has won a total of 1 game. Kyle Shanahan, that's right, as an offensive coordinator or a head coach, Kyle Shanahan is 1-8 in games going up against Jim Schwartz and a defense that he's a part of. And when you look through the numbers, it's really not that good in terms of for the 49ers. And you could say, well, what about his numbers with the 49ers? Who were the quarterbacks when he was coaching against Schwartz as the head coach of the 49ers? Well, that's one thing, but this goes further back. Again, 1 of 9, their first matchup starting in 2008 when Kyle Shanahan was the new offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. Jim Schwartz was the defensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans. This was before Schwartz got the job as the head coach of the Detroit Lions. That season, they met twice. Kyle Shanahan's team lost the game the first time by a score of 31-12. The next time they met up later on in the season, the Texans got the better of the Titans by a score of 13-12. But just listen to those scores really quick by the offense for Houston with Kyle Shanahan at head coach, or as the offense coordinator, against Jim Schwartz. Again, 12 points in the first matchup, 13 in the second. When you go through and you look at this list of games between Jim Schwartz and Kyle Shanahan, here's the one thing that sticks out to me. The points per game as an average, 15.8 points per game for Kyle Shanahan in matchups against Jim Schwartz-led defenses. And you might be saying to yourself, Jack, hold on. Whoa. We're talking about the Cleveland Browns here. We're talking about, an offense for the 49ers. It's different than anything that Kyle Shanahan has had before, so on and so forth, all those different types of things, right? This is why you got to slow down a little bit. In 2016, Kyle Shanahan was the NFL Assistant Coach of the Year. He had the NFL Offensive MVP playing quarterback for him, and the Atlanta Falcons offense was averaging 33.8 points per game through their first 8 games of the season. Through the first 9 games of the season. Okay, then they go into Philadelphia for their 10th game of the year. Remember, they're cruising along 33.8 points per game for that Atlanta offense. They go out there and they face the Philadelphia Eagles, led by Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator. The Atlanta Falcons in that game scored 15 points. It was the only time in that entire 2016 season in which they got to the Super Bowl, had an MVP as far as quarterback Matt Ryan calling the signals for them. That game against the Philadelphia Eagles and Jim Schwartz was the only time that Kyle Shanahan's offense with the Atlanta Falcons during that 2016 season did not score at least 23 points in a game, and they were held to just 15. So this is a matchup for the 49ers for Kyle Shanahan that's really going to be an interesting. Now, you look at this, the whole picture of everything that's going into this game. Can the 49ers still win this game and struggle offensively? The answer to that is yes, because they have a very strong defense to the San Francisco 49ers. And right now, when you look at the injury report that's out there, there's a high likelihood that Deshaun Watson will not be playing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns when it comes to Sunday morning on the West Coast, but Sunday afternoon in Cleveland time in that game. So that's the one thing that the 49ers have going for them, is if they do struggle on offense, they're going to be facing their defense will be facing an offense that isn't very good, that struggles to really get anything going from the quarterback position. It might be playing a rookie in Dorian Thompson-Robinson starting for the second time in a row for the Cleveland Browns. That's a positive for the 49ers. But the matchup, though, to worry about, again, Kyle Shanahan versus Jim Schwartz. And Greg Escon says Schwartz's defense is going to get worn down fast due to the Browns' 3-and-outs. that could be a factor in it. That definitely could be something that would play into this one. You go back and you look through the matchups between these two when Kyle Shanahan was here with the San Francisco 49ers. The first time they lost 33-10 to the Eagles. That was in 2017. You can kind of throw that one away because that was a mess at quarterback for the 49ers in 2017. That was either C.J. Beathard or Brian Hoyer starting at quarterback. Not very good. Then you get to the one in 2020, and this is a matchup the 49ers should have won if they didn't have Nick Mullins at quarterback. That was a tough ask, but still only 20 points is all they scored in that game. And then in 2021, out in Tennessee, with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, the 49ers scoring just 17 points. Should have had more, right? Jimmy Garoppolo throwing an interception in the red zone, missing a wide open Kyle Juszczyk on a leak route down the right sideline. A lot of things happen, but then that's also the case. A lot of things happen in games, it seems like, for Kyle Shanahan when he's going up against Jim Schwarz for one reason or another. If this was baseball parlance, if we were talking about a baseball game, we're talking about a batter and a hitter, and Jim Schwarz was the hitter, and Kyle Shanahan was the pitcher, you'd say that Jim Schwarz has ownage on Kyle Shanahan, because to this point he does. And today, in speaking about the Browns, just Kyle Shanahan saying that this is their biggest challenge so far. Only a few that this defense has been so good. They haven't faced very many red zone plays. That they're very strong on the back end. Everybody knows about Myles Garrett, that pass rush that you get from the Cleveland Browns. But in addition to that, you have a very good matchup on the back end with those safeties and corners out in Cleveland. He talked about their ability to get on you one-on-one and then mix in some zone behind that. There's a reason why that he believes that they're the number one pass defense in the league right now, and it's because of all those things. They haven't seen a team like what the 49ers can bring to the table, but I think Jim Schwartz has been around the league long enough that he should be able to have a good plan. Some of the weather reports call for this to be a wet and rainy kind of game. That plays into the Browns' favor as well. But, again, really the biggest positive for the 49ers in this game is the fact that Deshaun Watson is likely going to be out. The other positive for the 49ers is if you look at their injury report today, they are very healthy. Aaron Banks, as of Sunday, there were some concerns Sunday night that he might miss some time because they thought that he had a bicep injury. Instead of it being a bicep injury, it was actually a shoulder. He was a limited participant in practice today. The only player missing practice today due to injury, Elijah Mitchell, but that's not anything new. Mitchell's been out for a little while now with that knee injury that he suffered on a Thursday practice a few weeks back. Trent Williams, George Kittle also did not practice today. They had rest days, so days off for those two veterans. The other big news today out of Santa Clara, Randy Gregory. Hello, Randy Gregory, the 49ers' new pass rusher, showing up today for the first time as a member of the San Francisco 49ers. If you haven't already checked it out, you can get on the channel. There's the interview that he did with everybody in the locker room prior to practice is up on the channel. You can check that out. Also, had a little bit of video of Mr. Gregory today out at practice. I can pull that up for you. Here, just real quick. It's going to be a quick one. Let me go ahead and see if I can pull this up. That way you guys can see a little bit of Randy Gregory working on the field. I want to make sure to see if I can show you guys that if possible. Let me get to it. It's around here somewhere. Just give me a second. We'll see some Randy Gregory. But he looked really smooth. That's the thing. Randy Gregory seems to be in a good spot. Nick Bosa shared some words as far as the way that what he sees out of Randy Gregory, some of the strengths there for him. Let me see if I can bring this up for y'all. There we go. It's kind of small, unfortunately. But if you make it big, you can see it there. Randy Gregory working during practice today. Getting a lot of one-on-one reps, a lot of conversation going on between him and Chris Kosarick throughout. Also, you might be able to see in this video, you don't see him here, but he's off to the side for a lot of this session with Randy Gregory at the beginning of practice today. 49ers defensive coordinator Steve Wilks standing right there, paying close attention to everything that's going on. To get off, this guy just looks explosive. He looks like he's a guy that really fits in with the 49ers scheme. He's one of those he's tall, lanky, really, just a long guy in terms of his arms, quick off the ball. really seems to fit well with the San Francisco 49ers. So there you go, everybody. A quick look at Randy Gregory today out at 49ers practice as well. So a big positive there was that addition today, adding him. We know that was a great trade that went down on Friday. A great trade in terms of the 49ers not having to give up really anything to bring him in. So that's a big positive. Really quick, want to shout out Gregory Naramore, a new member of the Toolbox. Thank you very much, Gregory. Give him a round of applause. Good job. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. We got a bunch of tool members in here. We also got Shane Calamarino says Shanny goes yard against him this time. Book it. That goes back to my analogy as far as saying that Jim Schwarz and using my baseball analogy. Bregas Khan, Schwarz runs the wide 9, which nullifies outside zone. That's right, too. Very similar schemes between these two teams. The wide 9, if you remember, also the wide 9 was brought over here by Chris Kosarick. The 49ers didn't run the wide 9 early on. It wasn't until Chris Kosarick joined the staff that they brought the wide 9 over. But it does nullify that outside zone because those guys are so wide. It makes it hard to get outside of them. The 49ers run a lot of stuff towards the outside. So it's going to be a really tough inside run game this week for the San Francisco 49ers. Put a little bit more pressure on the quarterback to make those plays. So there you got it right there. A lot of talk this week about the quarterback, as always, in San Francisco. So that'll put the pressure on Brock Purdy out in Cleveland to get the job done. Taylor Broussard, thoughts on why Schwartz's defense has caused so much trouble for Shanahan. Schwarz used a lot of too high safety, so if the Browns stop the run, it's much harder to create explosive. That's a big part of it. The 49ers offense is one. They've got the ability to take their time and work down the field on you. But at the same time, the 49ers kind of thrive on getting explosive plays out of the run game and the pass game. Those two high safeties generally would make you think that you should be able to run the ball in the box, as you should have the numbers advantage. But if they're able to stop that run while playing too high, that really makes it tough on the 49ers, because now you're having to work against more of a defense that's going to take away some of that stuff. I mean, we saw that a little bit last week with the Dallas Cowboys, but we'll see. This is a game again. For me, I think the 49ers are going to win it, just to be clear. I think this is a game that the 49ers will win. They have the better roster. They have the better talent all around. It's just that this one matchup between Kyle Shanahan and Jim Schwarz has not gone Kyle Shanahan's way very often. So I think that's the biggest one. Harold, good to have you on board as well. Let's see what else we got really quick in the comments. Gene Holiday, the third, says, Jack just talked me out of placing a large wager on this game. You should never listen to me for your wagering advice. Trust me, I've been trying to do a pick'em contest this year based on picking against the spread. It's not very good. So I don't know what the point spread's like, but I could see this being a game that I wouldn't want to put money on or include in my wager game that I'm doing. Lee Kim, hey, good to have you on board. And then we also have CJ Gray. So run Mason on the gap scheme. Well, you can run the gap scheme with Christian McCaffrey as well. Christian McCaffrey is a really good gap scheme runner. Christian McCaffrey fits really. That's why he fits so good. He can run. He's really good on that zone, on the zone, one cut and go. But he's also good on the gap scheme, running up inside. I agree with you though. Also, CJ Mason is JP Mason, a really nice between the tackles gap scheme runner as well. There's a lot of things that the 49ers can do here to the Cleveland Browns that kind of nullifies or should help them to win this game. The biggest one, I think Bregas hit on it earlier, is if your defense is able to force 3 and outs and you got that offense, the more opportunities you get with that offense, the more likely you are that you're going to start to wear this team down in the second half. It could be one of those where close in the first half, but then you get to the second half, and that's where a worn down Cleveland team starts to have some injury. So we'll see how that all works out. Shane Calamarino, member of the Toolbox. Jack, what's your thoughts on Jordan Willis? I believe he's still available. Why not bring him back? He was such a good fit. Well, I think here's the reason when it comes to Jordan Willis. Jordan Willis and Charles Omenihu, two of the players that were with the team last year, that's over now with other teams. Jordan Willis was with the Raiders during the training camp, has since been released. I don't know if he really has a spot on this roster in terms of the 53-man. You look at what he does. He's not really going to beat you very often around the edge. He's more of an interior pass rusher, more of a special team standout type of player. Right now I don't know if they necessarily have the space to bring him in. I know they don't have it on the 53, and it could be a situation where Jordan Willis just doesn't want to sign with anybody on the practice squad either. So not really sure exactly, but I don't know if that's the best fit. I know I saw somebody bringing that up yesterday. I'm just not a big believer in Jordan Willis. He's a really nice depth piece, but the 49ers have really nice depth pieces that they've already replaced him with. Look at the pass rushers on this team. He's not going to come in and he's not going to beat out Drake Jackson. He's not going to beat out Randy Gregory, and he's not going to beat out the other edge rushers that the 49ers have right now. So I just don't know if this is one that I'd really worry about too much there. The notorious GAV back in the house. YouTube member again must have re-upped that. So thank you so much, Gav. I know you're a big fan. I'm a big fan of yours as well. You definitely got me excited about Wrexham soccer or Wrexham football. So that's my deal there. Looks like he says that he renewed yesterday. Greg says they want speed to power at Leo. That's where the Jordan Willis move doesn't really fit with the 49ers. He doesn't quite have that speed off of the edge. That's one of the things with him that I think slows down any kind of desire to go out and bring Jordan Willis in. And really, again, he was a big piece of the puzzle in terms of depth. The 49ers have depth right now. I think they like what they have already at that spot. They've got a pretty good crew there out at defensive end, and I just don't see the 49ers wanting to make any kind of moves out there right now. You look at that 49ers depth chart. As I mentioned, you already have Nick Bosa, you have Drake Jackson, now you've got Randy Gregory, Clelin Ferrell. And then over on the practice squad, you've already got a defensive end that's really good in Austin Bryant, a defensive end that really fits them from a speed standpoint, kind of like what Greg says here. Austin Bryant has that speed, that quick twitch, boom. That's what he brings. I don't think you see that so much with Jordan Willis. If there's a spot eventually that opens up because you run out of elevations and those types of things, and I think that's where maybe a Jordan Willis move would make sense. Pharrell Quadro says, Jack, how does Gregory look at practice day? Does he have speed off the line? Absolutely. If you missed it already, Pharrell, go ahead and when the show gets over with, you rewatch it. Just showed some quick clips or a quick clip of him working today at practice. Again, getting a little bit of work out there. Good stuff for Randy Gregory. Here, let me see if I can pull this up for you. I'll do it one more time. It's not the best video. There we go. That might be a little bit better for you. But so here is Randy Gregory today at 49ers training, at 49ers practice. His first day on the field with the 49ers. You see him working a lot with Chris Kosterick here. He's working with the 49ers defensive line coaches. You can see that quickness off the ball. They're working on, prior to this portion of the clip, you could really see them working on some things with the hand placement and those types of stuff. So, again, positive to have Randy Gregory on the field. Like I said, we got a chance to speak with him prior to practice in the locker room. If you haven't already checked that out, make sure you get over to that on the channel. You can check out the full interview over there. It's about an eight-minute clip talking about all of his, how he felt watching the game on Sunday, how excited he was to join the 49ers, which is a great opportunity for him. Randy Gregory, a big piece of what the 49ers are trying to do here in San Francisco. And it was, like I said, it looked like a solid day for him. It looked like he's Kyle Shanahan said it's really going to be up to how Gregory performs this week in practice and how he feels as well. And I do think that you're going to be able to see Randy Gregory on the field for the 49ers on Sunday against the Cleveland Browns. So Greg says, you just saw Koseric yell, yes, after that drill he coached him on. That's the one thing that I will say about one of the nice pieces about being able to be on the field and hearing what's happening is the coaching staff, and you could hear the support and the emphasis of different things that they're giving them. And not just him, but all their defensive linemen. The 49ers defensive line coaches are one of the loudest groups around on that field. And there was a lot of positive reinforcement going on today with Randy Gregory as he was going through. through practice. And you can see Steve Wilkes right there at the end of this clip. He's standing over here back behind where Chris Kosarick is. He had a very close, watchful eye on everything that was going on today along that defensive line. So, a lot of positivity there. Again, Randy Gregory, a nice addition for the San Francisco 49ers, cost them very little. Basically just moving one draft spot up. Not very expensive either. So I think this is a good move for the 49ers. There was a question here from EKM I want to hit. He says, Jack, do you see Trent against Garrett the entire game? No, I think you'll see Garrett moved around. You'll see Trent against him. You'll see Holton McKivitz. If I'm the Browns, I'm trying to get McKivitz matched up with Garrett as often as possible. But that's not always the easiest. Folktail says, howdy, Jack. Do you think Gregory can be reminiscent of the '94 edition of Ricky Jackson, or is that asking too much? Yeah, that is a solid comparison right there. Ricky Jackson. There's a number of pass rushers the 49ers brought in for that 1994 team. None of them really had huge years, but you kind of throw them all together, in that group as a group was very strong. So I can see that. Ricky Jackson kind of at the end of the line there with him, but I could see the addition of Randy Gregory adding to this pass rush and helping to elevate it. The more guys you can send at the quarterback, the better. And right now, I think we're getting to the point where you're seeing a 49ers defense with a number of different types of players coming off the edge that can really do a lot of work and cause some problems there. So let me just see if there was any other comments really quick to hit up on. Gav wants to know if we're going to see another Kyle Huek touchdown this weekend. I know that in hearing Kyle Huek talk, he was one of the things that he was saying was, he likes to block. He loves being a blocker. He always, of course, he likes running the ball. But for Kyle Huek, the one thing that he likes more than anything else is actually catching the ball. He enjoys being a receiver more than anything else. So, hey, maybe we'll see a chance for him to catch one. If it's a sloppy game, that kind of plays into those short throws to the tight ends to the fullbacks and those kind of things. So, so good stuff for there. And there you have it. Again, for me, when you look at this, if I'm a 49ers fan, I'm looking at this matchup between the Browns and the 49ers. Again, this is a matchup that I feel confident that the 49ers are going to win. But if there's one thing that would worry me, one thing that points to the possibility the 49ers could get beat in this road game out in Cleveland, is the matchup between Kyle Shanahan, Jim Schwarz. They've met up 9 times as coordinators and head coaches. Kyle Shanahan is 1-8 in his career against Jim Schwarz. His offense is averaging 15.8 points per game, and has scored over 20 points just one time. That's it, just one time, and that was in his third matchup in 2010 as the offensive coordinator of the Washington Redskins back then. But other than that 25-point outburst in 2010, his offense hasn't scored more than 20. And part of the reason I think they got the 25 in that game was the Lions had scored 37. So I do expect this to be a little bit of a mutter, Gregus, from kind of what I'm hearing, as it looks like it's going to be a wet day out in Cleveland. So I would expect this to be a little sloppy when it comes to the field conditions. That could also help kind of even things out. But I think the 49ers and their toughness, their ability to run the ball, both teams really want to run the ball. But I think the 49ers, that ability to make some easy throws off of it, or for Brock Purdy to be able to hit some things off of that, get that ball out to guys like Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel really could be the difference. So I think this is going to be a tough contest for the 49ers. I would not expect them to score 30 points on Sunday out in Cleveland. I do expect them to win, but I would say that this is going to be a tough one for San Francisco. So there you have it. Take it for what it's worth. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We have over 100 folks watching the show right now. If you guys can all do me a favor, hit that like button. After you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And then also, make sure you turn on your notifications, because you don't want to miss any of the updates right here on Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. And also, if you're new, you're liking what you're seeing, and you go ahead and you subscribe, you can always think about being a member. We had a few of them today we had one today that joined the club. We also have Shane Calamarino here. We got Raphael 5629ers, another member, and Gregory Naramore was the new member today. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Take care of yourselves, and we'll be talking to you soon. Take care, everybody.